Because this term with him relates to redemption, this coming together. So it's trying to tell us that they weren't redeemed. They simply were interested for a while, but when they heard something that just didn't make sense logically to them, they turned away and they would not walk with him. They didn't want to be counted with him anymore. Therefore, Yeshua said to, and here we are, to the 12. He says, you don't want to go away also? Now, he was not trying to just keep Yeshua was so concerned. He saw this great crowd of his disciples turning away, and he was trying to hold on to those 12. Absolutely not. He did not compromise. He said, don't you want to go away as well? I mean, isn't this a hard saying for you as well? And notice the response of one of the disciples. Notice verse 68, who it was that spoke. We read, And Simon Peter answered him, therefore, and said, what did he say? Lord. Now, in the book of John, in this section, what's important is the use of that term, Lord. We don't see it, and in many places, frequently being used in regard to Yeshua. Here, it's rare. And when the term Lord is used in regard to Yeshua, it stands out. So when Peter says, Lord, where can we go? When Simon Peter answered and said to him, Lord, to where are we going to go away? Why? He says, because, he says, you have the words of eternal life. So we can't follow after someone else. Where are we going to go? Because it's only you that have the words of eternal life. But once again, a change in grammar. Earlier on, those disciples had said, oh, this is a difficult word. Who can follow it? Who can receive that? Who can understand it? Those individuals are using the term logos. It's not rational to us. Peter, when he says, you have the words of eternal life, he didn't use that word logos. He used the word rhema in the plural. He says, we understand that your words are those terms that are going to produce the outcome of God's plans and purposes. They are going to make, in the same way, going back to Genesis, in the same way that God spoke and the world came into a new order. You are going to speak and you're going to bring the world into a new order. Now, the message is this. We've talked about how John frequently borrows things from the book of Genesis, and that's what he's doing here with this terminology. See, the world, and we've talked about this much, the world was in chaos. Tohu vevohu, lacked order. Here's the problem. We look at a world today which lacks order, that's not according to the things of God, does not reflect His will, and we become adjusted to that. We kind of are at peace with that. In this passage of Scripture, we have seen over and over how Yeshua is speaking about a change that's going to happen to who? Israel? No, he hasn't spoke with that. He says there needs to be a change in Israel, but what he's emphasizing is a transformation that's going to come to the world. What type of transformation? He says 2 or 3 times that he has come into this world. Why? He says to give life to the world. What is that? Remember what I said. That term life is synonymous with the kingdom. He's come to give this world a kingdom existence, a kingdom quality, a kingdom transformation. And He's the source to do that, not just for this world, but also for your life and my life. And it's Peter. He's saying, who are we going to follow after? Who else can we go to? Because it's only you that have what? That you have the words of eternal life. Verse 69. And we have what? We have believed. Now the others, they were interested. They liked seeing the miracles. They liked eating that food, and they wanted more manna from heaven to fall. They wanted their physical needs to be met. But what I think so significant here is what Peter says in verse 69. He says, we have believed what? We have believed, and also we know something. But before we talk about what he is known, I want you to see that word believed. It's in the perfect. What does that mean? Peter says, we've come to a conclusion in the past, and that's still the conclusion today, and that same conclusion is going to continue on in the future. That same belief, that same faith. And what is that? Who Messiah is. And now, without any shadow of a doubt, we're going to see Peter proclaiming the identity of Messiah. Look again. He says, verse 69, and we have believed and we have known that you are the Messiah. Now, it's not just enough to say Messiah. Why? Well, many people believe in a physical Messiah. Many people believe that Messiah is just a mere human being and nothing more. That's not enough. That's not accurate. Yes, Yeshua is fully man, but notice what Peter says. He says, the Son of the living God. Now, it says living God, remember, a kingdom God. We understand that you are the Son of the kingdom God. That's what motivates them. They're not committed to this world. That's not where their hope is. But their hope is in the establishment of a kingdom. And they have grown to understand that Messiah is the provision of that. So they're not wanting to turn away. Verse 70. Yeshua answered and said, have I not chose the 12? Now, this word 12 is very important because it speaks to Israel, but it also speaks to something additional. And that is God's sovereignty. He says, I have chosen them. But notice this word for chosen. It's the word electo. Why is that important? Because it's the same word where we get the English word election. Now, remember I told you I was going to talk a little bit about that term election. There are the elect in the Scripture. That is, there are those who God has chosen. And we see why God has chosen them. Because they have believed. And God has enabled them to come to Yeshua. But enabling does not mean that He has called in a way that they were brought coming, dragging, and screaming against that. No. They surrendered. Now, why is that so important? Because He says, I have elected the 12. He's chosen. Does that mean that term elect means something that cannot be altered? It does not. Why? Well, He has chosen the 12. And He says, and from you, meaning from this 12, one is what? A devil. Literally, diabolos. That is, one is a demonic figure. That is, he's going to be used by demons for the purposes of Satan. And this He was saying concerning Judah. What Judah? Judah, the son of Simon Iscariot. For this one was the one who was going to do something. He was the one who was going to betray Him, and he was out of the 12. So when we look in this passage of Scripture, there are a couple things we need to focus in on before we move into the next chapter. And the first is this concept of election. Election has to do with what? A choosing. But no more is that choosing. The best example is this. Judas was chosen. But was he going to remain eternally a disciple, a faithful disciple? No. He fell away. Now, we need to understand those who ultimately are the elect are those who have believed. And those who have believed, what are they? Well, they are the ones given to Messiah. None of those are going to be lost. And what does He promise to do? He says, out of all of them, He says, I'm going to raise them up. Not one's going to be lost. I'm going to raise them up on the last day. So in one sense, when we look at the elect from the standpoint of those who have believed, they are what? They are going to be eternally secure because of the sufficiency of Messiah's work. What He has done, what He has provided. And what has He provided? His very life and the shedding of blood. Now, there's another important point that I want to make here, and that is this. When we look at Judas Iscariot, it says that this one has a devil. Now, what does that mean?